welcome to Studio125 Multimedia Complex. This is your local artist highlight. I am your host, J.R King. I'm honored to sit here today with our highlighted guest. He's a producer, humanitarian, a father, husband, a vocalist, songwriter, arranger, Mr. Sugaa Shack himself. Welcome to Studio 125, Mr. Nelson Curry.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to
Coming,
be here.
brother. Thank you for coming. First off, congratulations on all your major accomplishments,
Thank you.
your music career thus far. But I would want to start off by getting to know who's the man behind Sugaa Shack. So we can start out first off, who is Nelson Curry?
Who is Nelson Curry? Good question. Just a country boy from South Carolina, North Augusta, South Carolina. Born May the 3rd, same day as James Brown. A man that likes to have fun, love his family, love his kids, love his wife, and love his friends.
How did you get into music?
Singing in church, just like everybody else.
Yeah, most times.
Yeah. But I just always had an inkling. My granddaddy used to always call me Maestro, and then he started calling me Michael Jackson. And he had a barbecue restaurant, and he had a bunch of pigs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he would always get me, and I always walk with him. And for some reason, he always told me stuff and would have these, because I always thought he just cooked barbecue, and that's what it was.
Right.
And he told me one day that he and his father used to sleep in the woods, cook barbecue, and find out when like a carnival or something like that was coming around, and then they would go and sell it at the carnivals. And that's how he got started.
Wow.
And I was just amazed that he had 13 kids, and they lived in that little tiny house with 4 rooms, and everybody lived in there, and that's what he did. Because I never saw him go to work. I always saw him growing stuff, corn, peas, butter beans, had the pigs and the horses and the cows and stuff. And that was always cool to me. I didn't understand it, but for some reason he kind of picked me out of the group of all the grandkids and kind of, hey, let me tell you this.
Right, like he saw something in you.
Yeah. So,
right.
and then I started the music thing, in church because he had a group,
Right.
him and his brothers, and they used to sing this song called "Born in Bethlehem." And it was all the harmonies they had and the way they were singing,
Right.
and to see him and all of his brothers, they were all old men, and people would say, "Well, I can't wait till them Curry boys sing. I can't wait till them Curry boys sing." I'm like, "What are they? I mean, who are they talking about?" And my granddad and all his brothers got up, and went to town, bro, and they were getting it.
Okay.
I remember sitting up like,
That's it.
What is that? I say, man, they are getting it. All those sisters in the church looking, yeah.
That's it.
I said, whatever he's doing, I want some of that. It was great, man. And so, and then, from church, it started from church, and then I realized I figured out I can write a song, how to write a song. And once I did that, it was on.
Okay. All right, that leads me into, I want to know your creative process when you begin to write a song.
Well, my creative process is usually in the car.
Okay.
If I get an idea, I usually hear the whole song, and I always think it always feels like I'm singing somebody else's song. So then I have to catch myself and make sure I'm not singing anybody's song. Is one of the reasons I don't really listen to a whole lot of music.
Okay.
Like I said, when I started out, I was listening to the Beach Boys, Kiss, and Beach Boys and Kiss is really that was my main go-to. I didn't really listen to a whole lot of James Brown or anything like that. I remember Stevie Wonder because my dad used to play it, and some Johnny Taylor and Joe Tech.
Okay.
But everything else was more of a rock and roll. I love groups that sang and had harmonies. I like songs that made you feel sad to me. And when I start writing, I'm usually in the car playing the track, and I just start vibing with the track. And once I start vibing with the track, back in the day, I called my answer machine and put it on the answer machine. But now I just do it in the studio. Of course, sometimes my wife now we're riding, and if I'm making something up, I'm listening to a track over and over again, it's like, can we play something else? I'm like, well, I'm working on something.
Right.
And it turns into that kind of thing. So it's just different things, but I'm usually by myself in a car.
Yeah. Kids will never understand the struggles of trying to get an idea out back in the day.
Yeah.
If you didn't have pen and paper and you were driving, what did you do? You call your house and say, hey, listen, I'm going to call back,
Yep.
and I'm going to leave this message on the answer machine. Let it play all
That's
week.
right. Don't answer the phone. Don't pick it up. Yeah. Shoot, half of them don't even understand pen and paper anymore.
Yeah.
Pen and paper? Well,
right.
I just texted.
You're right. Text it or speech to talk or
Yeah,
anything like that.
Yeah, but yeah, it was it was more of an alone thing for me. It really is kind of, to me, it's like, it's kind of therapy for me.
Mm-hmm.
And because usually if whatever I'm writing is going to have some part to do with something that happened to me or something I heard somebody say.
Okay.
And usually that's where I get mine from. Even Sugaa Shack. Sugaa Shack was really about a building that I saw that had Shack on it. And I was trying to figure out, kind of like a hole in the wall kind of thing. I was trying to figure out, okay, what's Sugar Shack, Honey Shack, Baby Shack, Sweetie Shack. I was going through all that thing.
Right.
And the reason I said Sugar Shack is because I went to California with some guys. One of the guys sitting at the bar, and I didn't get this guy had on green alligator shoes with the back cut out, almost like sandals. But he was sitting at the bar, and he had all these women around him. He had Chinese women, white, black, all these women were around him. Right. I said, man, what in the world are you saying? And he just laid back. He said, shit, bruh, I'm just saying, hey, sugars. I said, hey, sugars? That's what you're saying? He said, yeah, hey, sugars, they love that country thing, you know what I'm saying? He was just being country, and he was calling them sugars. And so I was thinking, when that bar that I saw with the word Shack on it, it was a lesbian bar.
Right.
And I said sugars because it was women.
Right.
And I said, sugar. Okay, yeah, Sugar Shack. But I didn't know Sugar Shack was a thing. I didn't know, and Fat's like, yeah, man, everybody's been to a Sugar Shack, a juke joint, a hole in the wall. I was like, yeah, right. So I'm thinking, I didn't know.
Stumbled on it.
Yeah, I didn't have a clue. I just called it Sugar Shack because this guy named Rod called the women in California sugars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're already into Sugar Shack. Tell people the story. You told me earlier about the story of how you came about writing that for someone else, and then how it ended up getting out on the radio.
Yeah, I actually wrote it for a group called Sequence 8 from Augusta, Georgia, because I admire these guys. And what I was trying to do, when I first got in the whole Southern Soul thing, I was in a group with Tony Howard called the Motown Review. Okay. We're in Alabama. We took a break, and they played this song. Everybody jumped up, white, black, old, young. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, what song is that? It sounded like it was recorded in 1960 or something, right? Tony said, hey, we need to learn some of that. I said, no, I need to write one of those. And so my goal was, when I came back, I started writing a song with the band. Had a group called the Class Band Brotherhood. Right. And all friends from high school. We hadn't put the band together yet, but when I heard that song, I got back. I was at the radio station with Fats, and I saw a flyer with that guy, Mel Waiters, on it, Hole in the Wall. I said, man, that's that guy. And he said, yeah, they come every year, and this thing and that thing. I said, well, when are they coming now? He said, yeah, they're going to be here next week. So I told my wife, I said, I'm going down to check this music out from these guys. I said, I'm going to see what it's about. And when we got down there, checked it out, I saw how many grown people were there. It was very few security guards and anything like that. And I really couldn't watch the show because I started clicking. Right. And she said, oh, Lord, like that, right? Like, oh, Lord, here you go again. And so I didn't really say anything. So when I saw the thing and saw it the next day, and I saw the Shack and all this other stuff going on, I said, okay, if I could write one for me and my group, and write something for Tony Howard, either Sequence 8, we can have some hot records, and we can go out on our own, do our own tours, you know what I mean?
Right.
And when I let them hear it, they said, I never forget, one of the guys said, oh, man, that's that old stuff, man. That's like old people music. And I'm like, but you're older than me. You know, what are you talking about? And then they said, well, we'll get together in a couple of weeks, man, and really discuss it again. And I'm like this. If I think about it, making a move on it, I'm ready to move. Yeah. You know, I'm not trying to wait around and all this stuff. I try to move. So I went in the studio, recorded it, called a couple of guys from the band, because I figured I need to get him to play this, because I can play different instruments, right, but I'm not a good musician. I play just enough to get my idea down. Then I'll bring in somebody that plays better than me, so I can get it sounding the way I think it should sound.
Okay.
And so when we did that, and I gave this CD to Fats, let him listen to it, and he's like, hey, man, you might have something right there. I said, well, I'm doing that for Sequence 8, and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, just hold on to it, man. I'll get back with you. And the next day, my cousin David called, and he said, hey, man, somebody on the radio sound just like you. I'm like, what channel? Turn the Fat station. He's bumping. He said, it's playing right now. And it was the demo. Wasn't even finished. I called Fats and look, whoa, we ain't back off of that, man. No, don't do that. No, that's not for me. He said, man, I had to play this thing 3 times. Wow. I said, uh-oh. I said, well, let me go in the studio and finish it. So as a matter of fact, in the original version, I'm whistling. I'm doing that. And the only reason I'm whistling is because I was whistling because I was going to get a guy to play a guitar part right there. And he didn't show up, so I told the engineer, I said, just leave it in there. I said, ain't nobody whistled on the record since Otis Redding, so leave it. And that's the only reason the whistle is in there.
That's one of the best parts of the song.
Yeah. And I forget that it's even in there. So when I go perform live, I never whistle because I always forget it's in there.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be a guitar solo.
Let me tell you about this Sugaa Shack song in my family. So growing up in my family, every cookout, any family get-together, guaranteed to play The Hole in the Wall in the Sugaa Shack. And when the song came on, we're kicking up dust, man.
Yeah.
It's electric slide. Everybody out in the yard having a good time. So I grew up on your music, literally, man. My family loves it. The last time that I went on YouTube and watched it was up to 4.6 million views.
Yeah.
But it's not the only hit that you've either wrote or produced. Why don't you tell the people who don't know some of the hits that you've written over your time?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I produced before Sugaa Shack. I produced a song called "Look at Them Girls with Daisy Dukes On." I want you to look at them girls with Daisy. Yeah, a friend of mine, they call him Tony Mercedes, but Anthony Johnson. He's in California. We still talk. Right. He said, "Man, I got this idea. These guys, man, I'm picking them up. They got this song idea, and he played it for me, and it was just like this real crude Daisy Duke song. Hey, Daisy Duke song over and over." Mm-hmm. I said, "It's not arranged." I said, what is a Daisy Duke?" He said, "Man, it's these short shorts they got down in Florida, man. I think if we put something together, it can work." So me and him worked out a program, how we were going to do it. I said, I'm going to arrange it more on a pop kind of thing. Okay. I said, since Daisy Dukes is about the TV show and all that stuff, I said, the 2 Live Crews got real low end, I said, I don't want to take it there. I want to take it more on a pop lane. All right. And let's see how it works. He said, whatever. You tell me what we need to do and let's go. Right. I booked studio time, got the guys. I had two guys that was on my production team called Paragon Productions. Mm-hmm. And, the whole computer thing was just starting to kick in. And we were using this program called Dr. T or something like that. And it was connected to the keyboards. I mean, it was just this big ordeal, man. It was like a Frankenstein monster you were putting together. if something stopped, you had to do it all over again. It wasn't like it is now with Pro Tools and things like that. Right. I mean, it was just a headache to me. So I was thinking, well, we got the technology, we'll use it. And we were recording the song, and the guys came in, man, we need that low end. It ain't got that low end. So I told Tony, look, if you do it with this low end, you won't get this pop radio on it. I said, I'm telling you, let's not do it that way. And man, them two guys, L.A. Snow, Creole D, they were crying for it. Man, we need to have it. I said, okay. So I went and I had the 808 drum machine. I got the 808 and put that low end on there. Boom. I had the studio rumbling. Right. They were like, yeah, that's it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And I said, make them a CD. I made them a CD, and they took it out in the car, and they were jamming. I said, all right, y'all get out here and let me finish mixing. As soon as they pulled off, boop, I muted it. I muted every drop of it. Right. And we even had, we had that on a loop. Right. And I told Tony, I'm like, I wouldn't put this in here. He's like, man, just put it in there so they shut up. So we go through this whole process, put it in. So now I got this low end going on, and I got all that stuff going on. So I hit play, and as we were recording, they don't even realize that it stopped halfway through the record. It's on the record like that right now. They had no clue it even stopped. I said, man, that's what I'm telling you. It wasn't needed. And that one sample ended up becoming a big detriment to the whole group when it came to money, because lawsuits started happening because of African Bambaataa and that looking for the perfect beat thing. Wow. But I left them out of it. They went out of that studio with a low end going on. The sample stopped halfway. They didn't even know any of that. And when they left, I took the low end out, and I left I left that in because I forgot to take it out. But I told them it shouldn't have even been in there. And I was like, uh-oh. But when them lawsuits started happening, man, that money stopped. Because what was happening was Al Bell, who was over the label, was the last official black record company. I'm talking about a company where when you sell the records, the money comes to him. Right. He was the last one. They'd already gotten rid of Berry Gordy, and they were looking to get him. And he told me, he said, brother, they're coming after me. He said, because I won't give them a piece of it. I won't give it to them. He said, they want to take me out. I said, well, how are they going to take you out? Now you got Daisy Dukes, you got Whoop There It Is. What are they going to do? He said, first thing they do is they destroy your name. The image. So people won't send you anything else. He said, how am I going to get a hit if black folks won't send it to me? And that's what they did to him. So, and I saw that firsthand. So I know how crazy it can be. And but then we had Dickey Ride, Dickey Ride, ride, don't you wanna Dickey Ride? I knew she was dancing back there. I knew it. So we did that in because I had built a studio at that time, and so we did that in our studio. And then a friend of mine named Toombs McClendon, called him Big Toombs, down in Washington, Georgia. He called me down. He said, man, I got this guy, and we're going to work with him. And it was Ain't No Play in GA, Pastor Troy. I said, what in the world kind of stuff is going on here? It just sounded so aggressive, man. I was like, ooh, I'm loving this stuff right here, man. Okay. But Troy was cool. He was working under a guy they called Redmouth at the time, down South Georgia boys and stuff like that. Now, they had some bad stuff. I don't know why they never put their music out really to the masses, but down South Georgia boys had some great stuff. But Troy was he was next on deck. He wasn't the first one. He wasn't supposed to be the first one, but then he started the playing GA. He started doing the thing against him and Master P and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what got him.
That's what got him. He was rocking at that point. I was like, yeah. But I started backing off because I just didn't get into the gangster rap started showing up then. Yeah. And then I had a nightclub on Peach Orchard called Paragons.
Okay.
And everything was changing, and I didn't like it. I just did that. That wasn't me. And I went to a club and we almost had to have a shootout. And I'm just trying to get home. I'm like, I think my daughter was 2, and I was thinking, I'm just trying to get out of this building, man. I said, whatever. I'm like, whatever we owe you, keep it. You know, because I mean, we're literally standing in the dressing room. He's up top on some stairs because the dressing room was behind the bar down in this little hole.
Right.
And he's standing up top holding a shotgun. Somebody he'll kill everybody in the room. And I'm standing between him, me, and the guys in the band. And one of the guys in the band going crazy. And I'm like, hold up, bruh. I said, hey, man, look. Whatever that we owe you, we are. You stop the crowd because it was a crowd of people outside. Telling them they got to come out. I mean, ready for us. I'm like, nah, I don't live that kind of life, man. Yeah. I said, nah. And I stopped doing it. And after that, I stopped dealing with music for probably about 10, 15 years. Yeah. And then that's when Tony called me about the Motown thing. And then when the Motown thing led to the Sugaa Shack thing. And then here I was back again.
Back again, stronger than ever.
Yeah, I started working in the corporate world for 15 years or so.
Well, I'm glad you came back. All my childhood memories got me kicking up dust to the Sugaa Shack. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So
I got a question for you. So out of all those projects, because some of those are multi-platinum, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Some of those are multi-platinum. What would be your favorite project if you had to just point out one?
Man, that's a good question. Because some of my favorite projects nobody will probably ever hear them or don't even see them. I did a song with some of the guys locally called Lend a Hand.
Okay.
And it was really just a song. I was trying to make one of those We Are the World songs because I had gone to California and I saw this guy he said, man, let me show y'all the real California. Because every time I was there, it was like Hollywood Boulevard, La Brea, at the buildings. He said, I'm going to show you the real one. We get in a car and go down to Little Tokyo. Mm-hmm. Streets paved in gold. Koi fish, everything everywhere. Literally 2 blocks down. The most hideous situation you'd ever see. It's like something off the Thunderdome with like you in like the end of time or something.
Right.
Everything was gray, trash everywhere, people just walking around like zombies. But I remember seeing this lady. She was sitting on the curb, and there was a little girl probably about maybe 6 or 7, standing beside her. Mm-hmm. And she was on the sidewalk with her back leaned up against the fence, and she had a baby. And the baby was laying on the street, and she was feeding the baby with a bottle, and the baby was laying right beside her, and the little girl was standing there. I was thinking, man, is this legal? Can this really happen? And this, black lady, right. And I was like, and all I could think about, oh my God, I hope if something ever happened to me, somebody would come and get them kids and do help. Somebody would help somewhere. Right. But it was just the contrast of seeing this and looking directly over my shoulder down the street. Right. And they had, and all the people in that little area that had the money hired cops, private cops. Wow. So the people they were so conditioned that they would be arrested if they crossed the street. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't even attempt to cross the street. They all lived in that area. It was just drug infested, poverty, like I had never seen in my life. And
that's crazy. I mean, let me get in right there because that reminds me of a story about how the police force was actually originated.
Yeah, to catch slaves.
But it was to protect the property and keep them out of certain things too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, but you're right. That's a good interjection right there because they were doing exactly what they were created to do. Yeah. And these people were they knew not to cross that street. Wouldn't cross it. Millions of dollars straight across the street. And when I got back And I was going down, I think that's 13th Street Bridge, and I saw the same kind of homeless thing, but it wasn't as bad. And my thought was, man, if people just helped in their little piece of the world, and then all of it would be gone, really.
Yeah.
But you got to start. I mean, I can sit here and say, man, I want to save the world all day long, but I can't save anything until I started my little piece that I got here.
Right.
You know, because everybody want to do the whole thing instead of just doing it a piece. If you do this piece, you do this piece, do this piece, do this piece, all of it as a whole is gone.
Right.
And I thought about that, and so I was like, I want to write a song that, because I know the United Way, or one of them have that little hand thing, that lend a hand thing, and so I wanted to write a song that they could use. I didn't care if they use it to raise money, or they just use it in the background of their slogan or whatever the case may be. And when I pitched it to them, I remember somebody in there started trying to angle it, like, yeah, man, we can, if we do this, man, we can make some money. Whoa, that's not what I'm even talking about. So I'm not talking about that. But it just made me realize, man, there's crooks in here too. I mean, this guy's in here trying to figure out how he can make money.
Yep.
Not what I wrote it for. So I put this little disclaimer on Facebook. I said, any musician want to come and be involved in this project, come down. Love to have you. So I had Kevin Foster, Aaron Malone, Pam Bowman, just a bunch of different groups showed up, and we turned it into like a We the World kind of thing. And I might have it on my Facebook page. Is it on there? No, not my Facebook page, on my website. But it's called Lend a Hand. And Share Best wanted to use it for the Partnership for Children and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know whatever they did with it or how they did it, but that was probably that's the best project I ever worked on.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I used the word humanitarian when I introduced you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get into your works around the city, and it's a story that a lot of people don't know about you, dealing with the James Brown statue.
Right.
You mind getting into that story for the people?
Yeah. That's another thing that I think that's it's really kind of shameful, because James Brown always, like I said, and my relationship with James Brown is that my last time seeing him alive, James Brown and I were born on the same day.
Right.
And sometimes he would call the station and tell them not to announce my name the same as him. And they would tell him, Mr. Brown, we can't do that. It is his birthday. Because his thing was only one room for one star on the stage, mister. And he wasn't ashamed. He was not ashamed about that either. But I would always tell, I'd go to the studio, and the engineer would say, Mr. Brown's coming in tonight. I said, well, what time? And if he says 10 o'clock, I said, well, let me know when it's 9:30 so I can leave.
Right.
Because I just didn't want to, I didn't know which James Brown was going to come in there. And I didn't want to have to say something crazy. I ain't going to disrespect him, but I ain't want him to go ham on me for no reason.
Yeah, it's James Brown.
Yeah, so I would just make sure I was leaving before him.
Yeah.
And the last time I saw him alive, he was, I said, well, let me know it's 9:30. He came early that night. I was like, ugh. And Howard said, Nelson, Mr. Brown's here. Just want to let you know. I said, okay. I started packing up my stuff. I was in there by myself that night. I packed up my keyboard. I said, look, hurry up and get out of here before you get in there.
Right.
And as I walked out of the door, all I could see was red. He was wearing red like this. He had a red hat on, red goggles like this. He had a red handkerchief around his kerchief around his neck, but he had a red pirate shirt on. To this day, one of the baddest shirts I've ever seen in my life. He had all this silver jewelry on, his turquoise and stuff. Red leather pants, red boots, cowboy boots with a gold trim around the top. I mean, he was sharp as you can get. And he's coming down the hall. I said, I got to pass. I said, here we go. I said, I don't know which one it's going to be. I had a keyboard under my head. Oh, I was trying to walk fast so I can get past him real quick. And I remember he's rubbing the side of the wall. I'll never forget that because when I saw the movie, and at the end of the movie, he had a red suit on. But not the suit that James Brown usually had, but he had a red suit. And I remember him having his hands out like that. And I was like, he was doing that on that wall that day.
Right.
He had his hand rubbing the side of the wall. and I was walking out. How you doing, Mr. Brown?
Right.
Mister. I said, I made it. I made it past him. As soon as I got around the corner, hey, mister. Yes, sir. Come on back here. Let you hear the greatest song in the world.
Okay.
I said, okay, well, let me put this in the car. I'll be right back. Yes, sir. So I get back in, and he had the song queued up. Mr. Monk, play that song. I'm going to let me hear the greatest song in the world. This is the greatest song in the world. He kept saying that over and over again. So he played the song, and I was like, you know, yeah, all right. Huh? He gets just looking at him. Huh? I said, and I can't just say, okay, I heard enough, gotta go. Yeah. See you,
This is James Brown.
Yeah, so I mean, he just,
You gonna feel it one way or another.
Yeah, that's the greatest song in the world. Mr. Monk, he told Mr. Monk go to another song, and he played the other song. It's like, in my mind, I'm like, I gotta hurry up and get out of here some kind of way. And I started dancing. I danced my way all the way around the thing until he was on this side of me and the doors behind me.
Right.
All right now, hey, y'all keep going. All right, Mr. Brown, you got your one. You got your one right there. And I was out of there because they were not the greatest songs in the world. But, hey, it was James Brown. I said, that is all right, Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
But, man, yeah, I've been fortunate, man. I've been lucky. I've been in the right place at the right time and been able to do some amazing things.
Right.
And if I had to leave tomorrow,
You'll be happy with your work thus far.
I'm a happy guy because that's why, like you some of the humanitarian thing, is with the statue. All that Mr. Brown has done is recognizing the city of Augusta and always acknowledging where he's from, even though he was from South Carolina, born in South Carolina. But he say Augusta. I thought it was just a slap in the face for the city to allow them to put a statue of him that was on the ground. Sharon Jones, who sang Sharon Jones and the J.R Kings. Sharon was born in May, so they call her the hardest working woman in show business. Matter of fact, they renamed the amphitheater in North Augusta after her.
Okay.
If you go to the Welcome Center, they got Sharon Jones' clothes in there, just like James Brown.
Okay.
And she said, have you seen the statue yet? I was down at the Soul Bar on Broad Street. I said, no, I'm going to go and take a look at it. Couldn't find it. Got out of the car, walked up and down the middle. There it was. Statue.
Yeah.
Not even they didn't even have it on a brick. I mean, the feet of the statue was in the grass. And it looked like a little kid statue in there. And I was thinking, I said, this is crazy. Then you would hear people in Augusta, well, I think it's a shame how the city did this, it's a shame how the city did that. I'm thinking, there's enough black folks in the city to put in 50 cents to raise the money to do this. But it wasn't going to happen. And actually, my daughter said, well, Dad, you used to put people together to do so. Why don't you try and do it? And then I felt like, yeah, well, you know what? I'm going to show you. Don't take that much to pull this off. So I called a friend of mine named Sam Bussey, who was trying to get into the game musically. I said, hey, you want to, connect yourself to something historic? Help me pull this off. And we started selling T-shirts. We made T-shirts that said lend a hand, raise the man, and this kind of thing. And we went to this radio station, started talking about it. And within about a month and a half, we had $13,000, and they took the statue off the ground, and we had that stage built. They brought the statue back and put it up. And he died shortly after that. Because I always think how crazy it would have looked had he been dead with that statue on the ground. Because then when he died, everybody went to the statue, started standing on it, taking pictures. It was like a central part. Well, it's a central part of Broad Street now, but it was a central part of people taking photographs and things like that. Right. I'm thinking now, imagine that thing would have been on the ground. But the city always tries to, that's the only thing that irritates me with it. Sometimes the city will talk about it, and they'll talk about it as if they did it, without acknowledging the whole controversy behind that thing. When you can see Oglethorpe and all these other huge statues way up in the sky, and you got this guy literally smaller than your child on the ground. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just that's one of those things. And I don't even look at that as humanitarian. I just look at it as like, as a musician, how could I not?
Yeah, that's dope, man. It's amazing that you was able to get that off the ground before he died.
Yeah.
First of all, let me thank you. Now that I know that information, on behalf of Augusta, let Studio125 thank you for that.
Hey, right on. That's it right there. That's the first one.
Let us thank you for that.
That's all right.
That's not the most impressive part of the story to me. It's the fact that your daughter came to you and issued you a challenge.
Yeah.
And you accepted that challenge.
Yeah.
That's the most important. I was like, man, that's dope.
She sure did.
You know?
Yeah.
Your daughter was like, Daddy, won't you do it?
Yeah.
You know, because in the community, one of the problems is we look at things, all of our problems as a big whole problem. Well, we don't have to look at it. Like you said earlier, if we just break it down. I was listening to Dr. Umar Johnson, and he broke down an idea of if all the money that we spend on everything, especially like the women in hair,
yeah.
You know, we spend billions of dollars a year. You know, we bring in and spend more money than some countries.
Yeah.
You know? So if we just took things, he used an example of grits. You know, a bag of grits costs you maybe $2, $3. If everybody took their grit money for the week and then waited until the month, let's just say 3 times 4 is $12. That's $12 that each black family would contribute. If we were to have that mentality, put a plan into place to where all the funds, anybody can log in and see exactly what's been done with the funds. That way there's no shadiness. Can't nobody do anything behind anybody back. Once we do that, we start off with the school. Now we have our own school. And then we take and we got a hospital. Now we got our own grocery store. That's kind of how we build Wall Street back. You know what I'm saying? And it's little bitty things at a time. And for your daughter to issue that challenge and you just taking, okay, well, I'm going to do my part. You know, listening to that, now I'm inspired like, okay, what is my part? You know, and hearing that story, other people are going to think that way in the city, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's how we fix it.
And everybody should ask a question. What is my part?
What is your part?
You know, because when people come to me now about the music industry has changed so much that anybody who gets in the music industry and says, man, I'm ready to get in here and get me a platinum record. You are thinking about the wrong thing. Because right now, it's so easy. Well, I shouldn't say it's so easy. I try and tell people like this. My goal in the music game right now is simple. I need 1,000 people that's willing to spend $100 a year on me. 1,000 people.
That's it.
But you get these guys trying to get in the game, first thing you think, man, I want to get a platinum record. I want to be on TV. Nah, I mean, if you want to be in it because you want to be an independent musician, you get 1,000 people to spend $100. Wow. That's $100,000. Don't care how you look at it. Or you may say, I need 2,000 people that's willing to spend $50 on me. That could be with going to a concert. That could be buying your hats, your T-shirts, your CD. $50. You need 2,000 people. Out of all the people in this country, in the world, you need 2,000 people.
That's a hell of a way to look at it.
Yeah, that's so doable.
It is.
But if you're not even looking at it like that, you're trying to shoot for the moon before you even get in the ship. You got to get in the ship before you go to the moon. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And so most people have 5,000 people on their Facebook. Most people have Instagram followers. You can't get any of those people to buy anything from you. So now you got to ask yourself the question is, why? Do you have a product that they want? I'm not going to, you can sell eggs all day long, but if they're rotten, I ain't buying them. I don't care how much you ask me to buy them. So now you got to start looking at yourself and stop blaming the reason, well, it ain't happening to me because they trying to hate on me or he's trying to hold me back. Man, come on, man. I had a babysitter that lived through slavery. I ain't heard her say not one thing about no white people. So how am I gonna say anything? What am I gonna complain about? Right. Every move I've made, everything I have, everything that's happened to me is based on some decision I made. Has nothing to do with something that somebody did to me. I mean, I wish I could say that, but no, it's not.
Victim mentality.
Yeah, it's not the case. Everything that's happening is. I mean, because even just this morning, when I saw the phone call, I was like, I could have said, make up something. People do it all the time.
Right.
But I have to make the decision to come over here. Just like you had to make the decision to call and ask me to come. You could have said, I called him, he didn't answer. I texted him, he didn't answer. Screw him. I'm going to somewhere else. All of those things are part of this whole process. The decision you make is going to be, the results you get is going to be based on the decision you make.
Yeah.
And I believe that 100%.
Yeah, I try to look at life the same way. I don't believe there's mistakes, only lessons. It's only a mistake or you only did anything wrong, you keep repeating it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So as long as you can learn from it, I look at it like I go 100% for my visions. Whatever I see in my head, I just want to go 100% towards that. And I had someone ask me one day, what if you go the wrong way? I said, I never go the wrong way because coming this way had to get me here.
Yeah.
It was something in that I had to learn. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I look at life. There's no negatives.
Yeah.
And I lost my mom when I was 20. And it took me a long time to see the positive in it. If she would have never passed, I would have never moved out of Augusta. If I'd have never moved out of Augusta, I would have never met my wife. If I'd have never met my wife, I'd have never got custody of my kids. If I'd have never got custody of my kids, I wouldn't have been the great father that I've grown to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I kind of had to look at it like that. Everything happens for a reason. And once you look at it, you can start just seeing the beauty in everything.
Yeah. Because look, if I wouldn't have met my wife, I would have never wrote Sugaa Shack. I wouldn't know why. Because there's a part in that song that says, when she walks by, oh, what a shame.
Oh, what a shame.
Long black hair and a Coke bottle frame.
That's right.
Because when I met her, she was doing this modeling thing, and she had a bikini thing on the picture. My uncle saw the picture. He said, boy, that girl got a Coke bottle frame. I was like, what? What did you just say? And that was years before I wrote the song. And in writing the song, I reflected back on what he said about that. And the whole thing is about me going to this club called Adams. And because when I met her, she used to be at the club just dancing by herself. Right. And, you couldn't tell me I wasn't a pretty boy a year back in there anyway. And I had no issue with women. Okay. But when I saw her dancing by herself, I was like, man, I need to get to know that girl right there, man. And I was so nervous, I told my roommate to go over there and talk to her. I said, hey, man, go over there and tell her step outside, because I ain't want to see it. I ain't want nobody to see me get shot down, I thought. Right. So I had her come outside the bar in the lobby to talk to her. And when she got out there, I was like, I didn't know what to say. I said some crap, some big bubbly tongue thing. And next thing I know, she went back inside. And I thought, damn, I forgot to get her phone number.
You should have just called her Sugar.
Yeah, I know, right? I should have. And then I kept going. Then I kept going back to the club. Right. But she wasn't coming back over there then. And I would ask people, hey man, have you seen this lady that used to be out there dancing by herself all the time about that tall? Right. And so I started describing to people there, trying to find out who she was and where she was and if she was coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sugaa Shack, he was looking for the lady. Then you have a song that was made 5 years later called Grown Folks Party, where he finds her at a grown folks party.
Yep.
Talk about that for me, brother.
And that's the grown hey, and that's the grown folk part I found there too.
That's right.
Yeah, so everything, like I said, everything in there is talking about some little thing that happened to me somewhere.
Okay.
And because it wasn't necessarily 5 years later, but it was maybe 5 months later, I saw her at another party. And that's when I said, okay, I invited her to the studio and all that other stuff. I said, once I get to the studio, she in my element.
That's it.
You know, I'm going to play some music. Hey, I did this. Check me out here. I said, I'm going to have a better shot. And so that's where the grown folk party came in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. So do you have anything that you're working on coming out? Anything
Well,
that you would like to highlight?
As a matter of fact, I have a brand new CD out called The Evolution of Soul.
Oh, I like that.
And I just released it January 29th? January 29th on all the digital platforms.
Okay.
And the whole to me, this is the best CD I've ever made.
Okay.
It's one of those CDs that I am 100% proud of. And because I got a song on there that's dedicated to my father. I got a song that's dedicated to my mother, and it's just a CD that when I finished it, I was like, yeah,
Felt good.
absolutely, yeah. And I had a friend of mine call me yesterday. He said, man, I listened to that CD. I got that thing in my car. I said, man, I ain't took it out. He said, that's your best one right there, bro.
Okay.
I said, that's your best one right there. And when somebody say that like that, like this particular guy said it too, I said, yeah, man. I said, I'm proud of that one.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yep. The Evolution of Soul, Nelson Curry.
I want to say this quote that I read that you say. It's like moonshine in a mason jar. That ain't the country and shit. I grew up in the country, and that they say stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it sounds like something my granddad would say. So when I read that on the website, I bust out laughing and wrote it down. So I got to bring this up.
Yeah. And on the first album we did, I did with the band, because a lot of people, some of the newer stuff that I do under Nelson Curry, they don't connect it with the Class Band, because when I first came out, I came out under the Class Band Brotherhood. Mm-hmm. It wasn't Nelson Curry. The Nelson Curry thing happened after the band quit. Everybody kind of got, in their own feelings about certain things. And one thing about a band, it's always something. But being the lead guy, you usually take the brunt. Mm-hmm. And I started being Nelson Curry, the Sugaa Shack Man, after they quit. And, in most situations, if that kind of thing happening, people are like, oh, man. But no, you got to run, okay, why is this happening? Mm-hmm. Okay, it's happening because it's time for me to go on this journey by myself.
Right.
And I looked at it like that. And at first it was a little depressing, because you used to be on the road with all your boys, because all my band members either cousins or best friends from school.
Right.
And here it is now, you're moving without them.
Yeah.
Then you start realizing, it'll be kind of easier to move without them, because I don't have to worry about what you think, you feel, or anything. It's just me.
It's you.
And I just move. But if it's bad, it's me. If it's good, it's me. And so that's where I am right now.
That's what's up.
And it's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
I think that's how life's supposed to be, man.
It is,
Put
man.
things on your shoulders, and you just win and die by your efforts.
Yeah.
You win and lose by that, man. I really believe that.
That's right.
I want to thank you, not only just for coming to Studio 125, Local Artist Highlight, but the things that you do in the city. The thing with the statue was amazing. And a lot of people didn't know this story. And I just hope that you get your flowers for your efforts, for the music that you put out. Like I said, we in the country. We take our shoes off. We out there dancing. There's dust everywhere. There's a bonfire over here.
Yeah.
We kicking up dust everywhere, and all off that music, like you, Mel Waiters, stuff like that. How can people get your CD?
Well, they can get it on Amazon, iTunes. They can go to my website, which is nelsoncurry.com.
Okay.
And any digital outlet, they can get it.
Okay.
And people don't really sell too many hard copy CDs, but if somebody wants them, they can hit me up. Matter of fact, I have a song. I have this song called "Call Me." Right.
Right.
It's like super hot down in Alabama and Carolina and some places in Columbia and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I put my phone number in the song just as a kind of like a joke to see if people would actually call it. Because I remember I was a big Prince fan when he had 777-9311. Yeah. So I put my phone number in 803-439-6673. That's how you reach me, baby. That's all it takes. If you want to get a hold of me. And so people will call, hey, is this number real? I say, yep. And they say, nah, this that guy that sang that song called me. It's like, but it's cool, man. Yeah.
People still call?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get calls on that every day.
Just say, but does it get to where it's a burden or they call all kind of hours or anything?
Well, not really, because I answer if I want to answer, and I don't if I don't.
Right.
But most of the time, they'll see the number and they think it's just automatically not real.
Okay.
Yeah, so just a few folks will call and go, I'm just wondering if this is a real number.
Wow. I bet you they have a story to tell. They get off the phone.
Yeah.
What about your social media outlets, your YouTube pages, and things like that they can follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Nelson Curry on YouTube. You can go to Nelson Curry on Instagram. Nelson Curry at Facebook or Sugaa Shack Man Facebook. I ain't hard to find.
Ain't hard to find.
Nah, ain't hard to find at all.
All right, everybody, make sure you go support his new album. I'm pretty sure I haven't heard it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be dope.
From top to bottom, buddy.
Top to bottom. He's
Top
put
to
it in
bottom.
and let it rap.
That's it. And look, and you can let the kids hear because there's nothing in there that's gonna be something crazy kids don't want to hear.
Okay.
But
it's a
it's
family album. Then.
Yeah, because like I said, it's the two songs that I love the most. It's called Father, and I got one about my mother on there. And those are the two that I love the most. But all of the stuff is off the chain.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, make sure you guys go check that out on all platforms. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe to all his channels and pages. This has been another episode of the Local Artist Highlight. I am your host, J.R. King. Thank you guys for tuning in.